Good morning, class. For today's class, we'll be reading and studying Lesson 8, Fire, Friend, and Foe. Oliver, please turn over to your book on page 114. Turn onto your book on page 114. Are you ready? If you are ready, let's start reading. Fire, Friend, and Foe. Kan anh em abu kan char mai in anwaya words hi en ula heng angchi zongjong khaparia ta oma kan bai hat ngal don ani spelling le comma full stop zongjong nen in bai hatanga in ron soi pu in video po chutiang ang vek chuanin ti turani a spelling in thiam tel tur o kalamang smoldering kalamang chialam tu smoldering burning slowly without flame Chattanang early man didn't know what fire was, but he must have seen the damage it could cause. He must have watched lightning and volcanoes long before he began to use fire himself. Fire was powerful and dangerous, and he was frightened. Chuanin man lai mi te chuan enge mai hi ani an shelo ni mai kan sha turo ani an shelo ma se ati chia te athil ti poite kha ero an sha ani chuanin chek la te tlang kang te kha an long mu fo to china a hlau pon hlau em ani ome mo hlau renga chuanin mei an man ma po chwa khan le mei chu enge ani ten chat ma po khan khang te kha an long mu to a an hlau em a athil ti thei sia te kha an hlawa an shia an hlau bokani man lai early man te chuanin they frighten fire chuanin thai tur kati hi thai ngal buk to ni fire was powerful and dangerous and he was frightened thairo fire may have puzzled early man, but we now know that fire is the result of a chemical reaction when the oxygen in the air combines with carbon and hydrogen in a fuel. A chemical reaction takes place. Energy in the form of heat and light is released in the process. This is what we call fire. May kha mak antiani mo an shethiam lawani ma se I kha a hlau zian shebok sia athil khoi poina satak te khan shebok sia chuwang chuanin mak kha anti em a mei kha mo chuanin ma se tunla ya chuan enge mei chu ani ti kan sheto a chemical reaction awanga omani ti po kan sha ani chuanin oxygen le carbon te hydrogen in a fuel te kha an in combines chuan khan chemical reactions asiama chuanin heat sa le eng khang tiang kha aron siam chwa kha chumi aron siam chwa chuanin and reactions aron siam ta check alo omta alo kang ta chu mei kan ti chu anita ani kan ti thuak ang three things are needed to make fire: fuel, oxygen, and heat. Le mei siam thu chuan thil pathum a om nge ngai ni chungte chu enge kan ti chuanin fuel le oxygen le heat an omangai ni oxygen kan sha tiro heat chu lum sa kang thei turin aluma asatanga yani chuanin akang tu rakha fuel a omangai buka chuanin ati kang tu tur achem kang tu tur ati al tu tur kha oxygen a omangai bukani chuan na wood coal cooking gas and petrol are some examples of fuel engtinge kang siam tu te chu kang fuel te chu thil te ti kang tu tur te chu enge kan ti kang thei tu ka thil kang thei te chu enge kan ti chuan ut kan ti chuan thing te enge na thil khang te ang thil kang thei chi reng kha ni maya coal te cooking gas te le petrol te kha fuel example thil kang chi example te chu anni Oxygen comes from the air. Oxygen hi chu borua ka cheng kan hmu mai kai ni po in mihring nung to phot chuanin thil nung zong zong ina kan thok lu chu oxygen ani ka chu borua ka om ngal ani. That is why when you blow on a smoldering paper, it often bursts into flames. Chuanin kang tur chuanin oxygen angai kan ti kha oxygen ero chu borua ka kan hmu ani. The third thing needed to make fire is heat. Fuel and oxygen do not make fire by themselves, or else a newspaper or a stick lying in the open would catch fire on its own. Chuanin apathum na thil ti kang tura poimo le chu inge kan ti kha heat mo lumna kha ani mo lumna asat na kha asat lo chana kang thela wani thingte po kan to a me a khanin entina na thingro mi alo te po ashing te po kan to a anu chana lo kang mai engwange aluma kang thei tur khanin asatok to a chuwang chana kang thei khani mai tani chan fuel le oxygen te hianin an ma ni ringot tin kang an siam thei lawa chuanin kang kha kang tur chuanin enge sa kha angai ta ani mo to burn a piece of paper or wood, we heat it before it catches fire. We generally do it with a lighted match. Every fuel has a particular temperature at what it begins to burn. This temperature is called the flash point or the kindling temperature of the fuel. Chuanin eng ma hi amaringotin akang theilawa chuanin engtin nge kan tiang fuel le oxygen ringot ta po khana kang theilawani kang tu chuan kan ti sat ma saka ngai ni kan ti kha chuanin thingte khatiang te po ti kang pa satur chuanin en mei enge kha no al te po ni tiro khatiang te po kha kan hanga chuan khatiang khan ka kan han ti eng ta a chuan alo sa a alo kang te china ni chuanin fuel thil kang chi reng hian fuel hianin thil kang chi reng hianin kang tura anin an temperature an nei vek ani kang tur chuan an sat ma sak angai kan ti to kha chuan chu tiang anga kang thei tura an temperature a sat dan khatiang ang akha kang thei tura an om thei china kha flash point or kindling temperature of the fuel an ti ni chu every fuel has a particular temperature at which it begins to burn. This temperature is called the flash point or the kindling temperature of the fuel. It is sometimes said that fire is a good servant but a bad master. It only means that fire is very useful as long as it keeps under control. Chuan kan shed ring tur chu mei hi kan mishing titane changkai lutuk le lutuk atel lova kan om theilo ani lai hianin min ti chevek tu ani thei bokani ti kha kan sha de poimo em ani chuwang chuanin kan control na hnuaya a om turani chuwang chuanin kang a hlo om zia po kha kan shat angai tel bokani. For instance, we use it to cook our food, warm our homes in winter, and to generate electricity. But on the other hand, if fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire. Vast areas of forests are also destroyed, and hundreds of people are killed or injured. Achangkai zia kan shat ringota a control dan a hlo om zia kan shat tel lo chuan le engtin nge kang mai kan ti chua lawang ti a khatiang ang kha kan shat thiam lo chuanin a hlo om em ani ti kan shat to kha achangkai a ni tina kan ei tur chum nan tin kan hmanga kan in ti lum nan te nge thing te po kan tu a tap chaka melum te po kan siama chuan chu lo le electric mangin electric meilum ang chi te po kan ai ani mo changkai mema achangkai na kha atam lut tukani chu kan soiseng lawang in shechewang suti lai ero chuanin kang mei a chua theina tur kha kan controller a hlo omzia kan shiat tel kha angai ani mo kan khatiang kha kan control angai ani kumtin hianin in tam takte akang chia a dor te cheng nuai tam tak man te akan chia a chan kumtin hian ram zau tak tak akang chia ani ni kuma po khanin I thona ti khan kan ram kang kha so tilam te enge lunglei lam kang kha ron chele ni tru u chang khatiang kha ni tin ma ni luka po kan venga hian in pakhat engma chu man akang cheveka in pani vela kha aka chevek lo dewina kang bukani chuan chu tiang chuarin a hlo ema tin kumtin hian khatiang khanin kang me wangin mitam tak kin nun na anlo chan to china in hliam tam tak po hliam tur tam tak pon lo om to china chu wang chuan kan film khur angai ani voina kan zir lai hi kangai poimo anang ma ni pun ingai poimo turini a chu wang chuanin kang lo turin engtin nge kan ve nang ti te po kha kan sha da ngai ani chuan ale lama khanin en la words generate produce tidur generate produce ron ti reng su generate produce just as 3 things we needed to start a fire. There are 3 main ways in which a fire can be put out. Le may siam tur khan thil pathum kan mamo ani ti kan soi to a chung te chu fuel oxygen and heat kha ani a chuanin kang mei alo chu a chu tiang bok chuan kang mei alo chu a kan ti re thei dan tur kan chel thei dan tur kan ti mit thei dan tur kong thum a oma chung te chu kan zir do na hi apoi mo ema in shenge nge turani in thiam nge turani class 7 students in ni to a chu wang chuan in thiamanga in chung te inu le pa ten an lo thiam lawani po in nangman I thiamanga ati dan kha ishe turani on in each one of the 3 things needed for burning is taken away chuanin kang engtin nge kan chelang kong thum kang akan zel lo nana ati re dan tu kong thum te tu na hian kan sir don ni on chuan chumi ma in ale lama words kha ka chiar le ang o add fuel to the flames Hey idioms ni say or do something that make people react more strongly and fiercely. Say or do something that makes people react more strongly and fiercely. Smothered. Excuse me. Smothered. Suffocated. Extinguish. Put out. For example, we can take away the fuel. If the fire has no fuel to feed on, no burning can take place. We often let the fire die out simply by not adding more fuel to it. Le atopa chuan mei ti kang tu kang siam thei tu te kha kan soi to kha mo kan soi to kha khang fuel howa kha fuel te chu enge ni a page le lama khan kan sha to kha tiro te coal te cooking gas te petrol te anni khang ang ti kha akan zel lo nan kan la son de yanga ti chuanin ti kang tu a om to lo chuanin kang kha are mai don ni engtin nge kan lak sonang kan ti chuan for example entina da gas kha alo kang ta ani mo gas alo kang ta a kha gas kang kha akan zel lo na tan chuanin gas bur dang kha ila sonang ani lopon ila theyani chuan gas kha I ofang mo chutiang chuan kan tiang entina na thingte mau ro te eng ro mo te kha kang bula khan lo omta se akan zel no lo nan khang kha kan la son vekanga abul kha kan theilo turin kang tur om lo turin kan lo thian faianga te chuan akang lo mayang en te chuan chu lo le chuanin oil hey petrol te kang tu ema petrol te kha akan na tur na la ya kha na ron kan zel na tur na la ya khan aron man chak don ani petrol phe chu oil lampang rang chu man chak ema chumi wang chuanin khang thil om te kha kan la son de yanga abul vela lo 5 kha chuan kang kha ama in chel em pongai lo khan alo re mai don ni chu number 1 ani kan she chiang em kan sha tiro o chuan entina na gas lo kang ta ni gas bur kha he apuak te akang te lo oma henga hian film khur chu anga ya iti dan tur chu entina na khatiang khan chu tiang chuan ilo ti don ani a number 2 the second way of putting out a fire is to prevent oxygen from reaching it. No supply of oxygen means no fire. Small fires can be put out or smothered with a damp blanket or a sack. This stops oxygen reaching the burning material. Sometimes carbon dioxide is used to extinguish fire. It does not allow oxygen to reach the burning material. Le apan ni na chuan engtin nge kang kha kan chelang kan ti le chuan oxygen kha kan pelawang entina na oxygen kha amei ti kang tu ani a chumi wang chuanin oxygen kha kan ti thleng lawang engtinge kan ti ang oxygen kha kan ti topang kan ti top dan tu chu engtinge kan ti chuanin and gas te kha lo kang palta se emo khoi mulaya kan in chunga le kha te lo kang ta hloi enge muka lo kang ta hloi ta se blanket or enge blanket te rizai te po nyang chu chuanin enge kan ti ang buara te po in khatiang khan kan lo khu top menga I khu top chuanin oxygen kha alu don lawa kang kha are mai don ni chutiang chuanin fire extinguisher hi kan sha em or extinguish o khatiang khanin carbon dioxide a oma fire extinguisher chunga hian heng te po kan thei chuanin kol te po ina chu ome school ate tianga chuan kan kolani o khatiang khan kan kap bokanga chuanin carbon dioxide ta kan zuka chuanin oxygen kha om don lawa ti chuan kang kha alo re mai don ni chuan apathumna the third way of putting out a fire is to remove the heat. If the temperature can be brought down below the flash point, the fuel stops burning. You blow on a burning matchstick or a candle to put it out. In doing so, you remove the hot air around the flames, bringing it down its temperature below the flash point, and the candle goes out. Sometimes water is sprayed on fire. It absorbs heat from the burning fuel and lowers the temperature. The blanket of water also cuts off the supply of oxygen and the fire is extinguished. Le apathumna chuan inge kan ti chuanin thil kang tur chuan asata alum masakangai kan ti to khatiro thil reng eng po hi kang thei tur chuanin and alum chin akha ahan luma ahan sat chin ahan thlen khan akang ti chinani chumi wang chuan chutiang a thil kang kan chhel don chuanin ati satu ati lum tu akha kan ti bowangai ni chu mo kan ti dai angai ti na ni chu adik ber ome chuanin entina na matchstick te candle te mo hetiang po hi kan ti hlum don chuanin no al te po kan han not alatiro chuanin kan ti hlum don chuan kan chema chuanin alo top mai china chuanin bati te po kan ti hlum don chuan kan chem hluma chuan akang chunjom lo mai ni tiro chu tiang chuan kha omzia chu bulvela kang thei tur era kha enge kha thilluma kha akan theina turaka matchstick akan zel theina turaka kan lo chem hluma kan lo didaya chuwang chuanin akang chunjom zel te lo tinani chu chan chu tia angbok chuanin kanga lo om chuanin tuin kan chhel theani kang chhel motor te po tuian manchin hi kan sha tiro tuin kan chhel theya chuanin kha tui khanin thil kang kha a temperature kha kang thei tura alo alumna kha azuk tidaya ti chuanin alo al thei ta lo china lo kang thei ta lo china ni blanket tuya ti hu tele enge buara te buara ti hu te rizai ti hu te puan eng mo ti hu te khachang cha deu ti hu a khatiang anga akang lai engtin nge kan tiang vakhu khanin kang kha atire chinani chuanin akang kha alo re thei ta chinani entina na in gas thuk alo kang ta a in gas thuk alo kang ta thei chuanin off turani chuanin adot le chuanin a gas bura alo kang ani phei chuanin buara emo I rizai te blanket emo te kha itihu anga mo itihu anga iwa khu donani te chuan a al kha re mai donani a kang kha re mai donani chutiang chuan ti chin turani chuanin chutiang chuan ti chin turani kan chia ti ro kong thum na kan zir le ta ama seber chuan engtin nge kan tiang kan ti chuanin ati kang tu kha entinan kang zel tur kan ven na ta chuan kang thei tur abula oma kha kan la sonang gas bur te po akang thei kan la sonang oil te po kang thei kan la sonang chuan thing te po kang thei kha kan la sonanga chuan abul kan ti faianga aron kang chun zom zel lawang adot le chuanin oxygen kan ti re ang oxygen ti re tur chuan enge akang laia kha blanket te khatiang khanin buara ten kan khu anga oxygen a lut lawanga ti chuan kang chu alo re mayang mo adot le chuanin thil kang kha kan ti re don chuanin tui ten kan lei hu anga bucket tui tam deuh ten kan lei hu anga kan lei bor anga na sa deuh deuh kan lei anga tui ui mi alo tu orani chuan chu lo le chuan blanket te buara te rizai te khatiang pon oma piang kha kan ti hu anga akang kha kai kan khuang gesa kan pon kan khuang engemo kan thu thleng te mo kan bang te mo kan pon tuin kan phu huanga kan lei hunga chuanin buara te enge kha rizai te blanket thu ten khatiang khanin atwam thei chi chu kan va twama kan khuanga ti chuan lo re mei donani mo some fires cannot be put out with water if water is sprayed onto an oil fire, the oil will flood to the top of the water and continue to burn. This can be very dangerous because water can flow quickly, carrying the burning oil with it and spreading the fire. Water should not be used on fires caused by electrical appliances. The person spraying water might receive an electric shock and be killed. A carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing to fight an electrical fires. Chuanin tui acha kan tia blanket hu te acha kan ti rual khanin chat lo na ane ni enga tinge chu tiang chu tui te achel na kan man lo na mun tur chu kan ti chuanin oila tel te lo kang ta se or enge kha petrol te akanga ni chuan tuin iti turani lawa blanket hu po in ikhu turani lo tui lampang khatiang reng kha khan chel itum turani lo achan chu tui ai ivati chuanin tui chu entin na dokana tui ti buak hlek kamo chhuata tui ti buak hlek pon tui chu luang halani tui luanga tui chunga khanin oil kha khang petrol te kha lo omsia chuanin tui luan rual khanin kha oil kanga kha achunga tui chunga khana omsia aluang zela aluan na pia tui luan na pia khan a al ngal pup mai ni chuwang chuan kang kha ti zual na mai ania man mi alo turani blanket hu te po eng hu ma kha man turani lawa electric short wanga kang le oil kang renga chuan tui lampang reng man lo turani electrica khanin electric ang chia tui man vai chuanin bucketin tui electric shock short wanga kang kha iwalei vai chuanin tui kha ron mananga nangma po khan ithi pha thei kareni naman chunjom don cheni chu sha turani o chiang dewa sha tur a hlau om em ani khatiang electric kang le oil kanga chia chuanin fire extinguisher hi acha berani abaka cha omlo chu man turani chuan ale lam kha en le ula bands groups equipment things needed charchun somle ang we spend millions of rupees each year in fighting fires and we spend more trying to find new ways of preventing fires from happening and getting out of control on the whole we have learned rather well to control fire and put it to good use in our everyday life. Let's one kum tin hianin millions tam tak paisa hi kan mang ral china ni kang chel nan le kang awa kang bai puinan reng reng hian kan mang china ni mo so wang chuanin kan control ngai em a chuanin tun lai e ro chuan a control dan te changkai zo ka man dan te ni tina apui mon te sha in le a control dan te sha in kan lo mang thiam min kan lo control thiam chen to ani mo long ago there was no fireman. When fire broke out, everybody became the firefighter. People form human chain. They still do if required, and pass buckets of water from the well or pond to the blaze. Now there are laws about building construction which ensures that space is left between buildings to reduce the fire risks. Every new building, especially public place, must ensure observance of fire prevention norms, bans of firefighting workers. Now, with special equipment known as fire brigades are there to put out fires. Firefighters are highly trained people. They possess many skills. They cut off electricity supply, knock down dangerous walls, spray water and other materials to bring fire under control. Le man lai chuanin fireman hi an omvel wani chuanin kang me chwa chuanin an khwa amitin mai kha kang chel tu pol kha ani mai ta a chuanin anin tlara am bucketin tui kha anin pa sa kang kha an chel chin ani masi tun lai e ro chuanin chu tiang chungai to lowin fire motor te oma fire brigade te an oma fireman kan neya fire brigade an ti mo kang ho te kha an neya heng ho hi le man ro chatak tak kang chel na man ro chatak tak ne na thuam an ni a thiam na sang kang chel tura thiam na nei train vek an ne to a chung te chuan kan kang te an chel to a na chuanin electric awanga kang along ni te pon electric supply tin ti topa chuanin kang mai enge tisual thei ang chi te kha ti chhia ta ngai pon an ti chhia a chu tiang chuanin i ante i man ro sang mangin kang an lo chel to ta ani chuanin tin tun lai building ramchang kang a chuan building reng hi kang me lo om pala in pakhat kang se adot le mi akan kai zel lo nan in sakdan po in hlat devin chu tiang ro man na fel tak ne chuanin tun lai a chuan in an sato ani an hnuaya khu man lai kang chel dan an ti dan khwin mu em boy thla kom tiro tun lai a po a chul na huna chuan man la ni thowani mo a changkai em thowani. They can help people suffering from They are also trained in first aid so that they can help people suffering from burns or from the effect of smoke. The discovery of fire and its uses help early man to cope with nature better and gradually adopt a subtle mode of life. Fire is still worshipped in many parts of the world. Fire is indeed a friend, but as we know, it can be a dangerous enemy once it gets out of control. Le firemen te hianin I kang chel dan chawan zir lo first aid an zir tel fikani chu tiang anga train fik chu anni kang mei to a kang mei kang an chel na khanin mishing hliam te pon lo om theya kang te first aid pek dan tur te an zira tin smoke mei khu ina I ati buaite thocham te pon lo siam theya khatiang first aid pek dan te kha an thiam vek a train vek khatiang ka thiam tur train vek an ni a kan nei chuto le ani chuan mei kha early man lai khan ti khan an lo mu chuak ta a man dan an lo thiam te zela khatiang khan voni thlengin nun nom na min pe ani tiro chuanin I amai ro chu kan soi to ang khanin fire hi mei hi achangkai em atelawin kan nung theilawa kan engkim mani ti ila kan soi swal om lave amai ro chu mei hi a hlau em kan man thiam lova kan control lo chuanin kan nun ti chevek tu hlau mel ma hlau taka achang thei bukani ti kha kan sha ta poimo ani le thil mak deuh pakhat chu khovel mun chen khata chuan mei fire hi pathian anga bian lo la omani chu ni chuan pathian kan bia iswa krista pathian kan bia ani christian te chuan chu ero sha turani khati zong kha voina kan zir lai ani chuanin khakha in lo ngai thla anga in lo thiam tur kha words meaning atikha in lo thiam anga chuan exercise ti dan tur hi ashanin kan soile don ya nilen nom vek ule